Good morning, same day. This is my next video. In this video, I actually go away from the sun and SDO, and I go onto the internet and I look for a GIF, a file that shows Jupiter with its jet streams functioning. And the reason I did that is because you can sit there and look at Jupiter, and you can basically establish in your mind where you think those jet streams are relative to each other. And it's probably not going to be the same, because for me it wasn't the same as what it was after I saw the streams moving in conjunction with one another. So I had to keep going back to keep looking at them to make sure that the lines that I use are as close to the meeting point, the borders of each of these jet streams. And when we do this, I end up with this guy right here. So this is the GIF. As you can see, it's a GIF file, but it's not GIF operating because it's just a screenshot, if you'll notice. So here's Jupiter, and it has this axial tilt that we can see here, and it does not appear, as we can see the largest stream in the center, it does not appear to have an axial cant, positive or negative. I said positive or negative. No, negative or positive. Okay, there. Now I'm right. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, we have basically 9 visible jet streams on the side of the planet, and I have further identified another 9. I don't know if you'd really call them jet streams, but they look more like rings instead of streams. They're all streams, but they look like rings when you're looking at the poles. So there's another 9 jet stream rings on the North Pole, and there's another 9 jet stream rings on the South Pole. And yes, I had to do it the same way. I had to watch the GIFs of the North and South poles of Jupiter to be able to identify the rings. And it took me a little while to put those together, but the total of all the jet streams and the rings are 27. Okay, or should I say is 27. So there is a total of 27 of these jet streams and jet rings, or jet stream rings, and that's kind of like beside the point. You'll notice this is the great big red spot, right? And it happens to be below Jupiter's primary jet stream. Jupiter's primary jet stream, as with all DRCB primary jet streams, at the equators, they always rotate in the direction of the planet's planetary rotation, or the DRCB's primary direction of rotation, as it is driven by outside forces beyond that DRCB. The rest of them, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 6, 7, 8, 9, are alternating currents that are basically backflows, primarily driven by this singular belt. Now, this is a great big red spot on Jupiter. It looks gray in this photograph, but that's because this photograph is kind of like gray. And its mate on the other side of the Jupiter's surface it falls into jet stream number 7. And then if we go up here, jet stream number 4 has another mate. And the reason you don't see that mate anywhere in here immediately is because you've got this guy right here, and at 90 degrees over here, you're going to have another vortex. And then its mate is going to be in jet stream 3 over here somewhere, right? Because they're approximately 90 degrees perpendicular to each other's axes. And the reason you have the great red spot's mate down here is because Jupiter's core, right in here, in the primary belt, is too dense. So if you take the vertical core between this vortex and its mate up in here, and you take the distance from the great red spot and its mate down in here, and you draw a big circle, that's how large the Jupiterian core is. Do we know what the Jupiterian core is comprised of? I have no clue. All I can say is it is so dense, unlike the sun, unlike the earth, it is so dense that it forces these vortical rods to separate north and south. But it doesn't stop the vortical process of 6 primary vortices on a DRCB. Now, that's how we have differences in some circumstances, okay? Now, like the vortical jet or lithostreams on the Earth do not appear to have quite this large of a central band around the equator. It is somewhat larger than the other belts around the Earth, but for the most part, the lithostreams are almost perfectly at the same contour interval of each other, paralleling. And yeah, there's 9 of them right here on this side view. You don't really, I haven't really seen enough detail on the Earth's surface to be able to identify the rings, north and south. You can only use what you have available to you, and I'm not sure if we have all that detail yet. And they're just now talking about mapping the true topographical features of the North Pole. So that tells me, when they do that, and we've acquired that detailed information, we might actually be able to see and analyze more in greater detail these types of rings on the Earth's surface. But for right now, it'll be for someone else to look at. And this is what we have here. So I took this outline of Jupiter, I put it here, and I tried to straighten it out. Naturally, these lines are not perfectly straight, but hey, you know what? They went with this, and it gives us a basic general idea. What was my point of doing all this? My point of doing all this was to take this outline of Jupiterian stripes and apply it by transposing it to the sun to see what the similarities might be between Jupiter and the sun, now that I know for a fact the sun has alternating currents. And that concludes this video of Jupiter. No, I'm sorry. I just feel like making that sound funny because I don't have anything better to do right now. So, Jupiter, there it is. And this concludes this particular video. Please stay tuned. I'll show you more details. It gets really, well, for me, it's really exciting. I've got some secrets out there that I want to share with you. I'm itching to share them, and yet I can't share them with you because, I give it away, and then you're like, oh, well, no climax there. Okay, so, and no suspense. Suspense is what it's all about. All right, so please like it and subscribe if you're really interested in planetary evolution, or in this case, I'm going with a greater range. I'm talking about all space balls, not just planets. So this pertains to all space balls and their evolution. All right, here we're going to go.